Hi everyone, alright, so in today's video I'm going to be showing you how you can actually use green screen footage directly in Cinema 4D. So what's really awesome about this is the fact that you are essentially merging 2D and 3D directly within a 3D program. So think of it as 3D compositing. It's a very unconventional and interesting way of using green screen footage directly inside of a 3D program. So we're going to be taking that cat over to Adobe Premiere Pro. We'll be removing the green background, so we'll be doing some basic chroma keying and then bringing that footage directly into Cinema 4D. I'll show you how to set up the materials so that you can isolate the background. And look at this, we've even got realistic shadows being casted from the video. So it's really cool. If you want to see how this is done, definitely stick around for the rest of the tutorial. I've been using these techniques quite a bit with some of the work I've been doing in Blender. You can see at the top of this arcade machine, that's all green screen footage. The same with this tribute to PlayStation. Spyro the Dragon is green screen footage. Over here with the Charmanders, the fire is green screen footage. So you can see the possibilities for doing really cool stuff is endless once you know how to set this up. So it's something I've really been enjoying in Blender, but I've managed to replicate that, and I want to show you how to do it with Cinema 4D and Octane render. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so where can we find green screen footage? And you're already on the perfect platform. YouTube has tons of green screen footage videos, but for the purpose of this tutorial, I want you to use the exact same video that I'm using. So check the link in the description or the top comment. It's this video of this black cat. So once you're on this video, I also want you to head over to a website called ytmp3.cc or YouTube to MP3 converter. This is going to allow us to actually download this video. But also, whenever you're downloading videos, pay attention to any licensing information. A lot of the stuff on YouTube is royalty free. People will mention that in the description or even in the comments telling you that you can use it for free. But obviously if there is licensing that's involved, you want to respect the licensing. Anyway, here's the video of the cat. So you want to grab this URL. You'll just click over here and right click copy, go to ytmp3.cc and paste it in the URL over here and change this to MP4. Click on convert. So it's going to convert this video file for us. And there we go. And then just click on download and you'll have access to this video. Now go ahead and open up Adobe Premiere Pro. I'm using Premiere Pro CC 2018. I know it's still an earlier version. This is the most stable version for me, but you should still be able to follow along. So now go ahead and click on New Project. And over here, I'm going to be saving this to the desktop. I'll just call this Black Cat. And these are going to be my default settings. And then I'll click on OK. Now let's go ahead and drag and drop that MP4 file that we downloaded into Premiere Pro. So I'll drag and drop it over here. And then drag and drop it on my timeline. So I'm under the effects tab, and if we go to the search bar, we're going to be doing some quick chroma keying, and you can see if I scrub forward over here, there's our black cat. So let's remove this green background. So if I go to effects and the search bar, I just need to type in ultra, and we're using this ultra key. So drag and drop that onto your footage, and under the effects control over here, you'll see we have ultra key and then key color. So just click on this eyedropper tool and then click on the green background, and there we go. So the green background has officially been removed, and now we just need to save our two files. So the first file is going to be this file that contains all of this color information, and that's going to be plugged into the diffuse on our material in Cinema 4D. So I want to save this out as a video right now. So I'll go to File, Export Media, and then I'm using the format H.264. My bitrate, you can see it's a high bitrate, and the other settings over here are on default. But I'll just scroll down over here so you can basically pay attention to all of these settings. I haven't really adjusted anything else. And I made sure that I put this on use maximum render quality and then just click on export. Right, so we'll be saving this out. And then the second version we need to save out is for the opacity or the alpha channel. So to create an alpha channel in Premiere Pro, under the Ultra key and under output, just change composite to alpha channel. And there we go. So this is basically going to remove this black background in Cinema 4D, and we'll just have the cat on its own. So now go ahead to File and export this out in the exact same format we did for the first video. Use maximum render quality and just export that out. Okay, so before we head over to Cinema 4D, I want to mention an extremely important tip regarding green screen footage, because I'm going to bring in another video right now. So I'm going to bring in this Ken footage, and I'll drag and drop this onto my timeline. So with the cat footage, you'll notice that this green region takes up this entire aspect ratio, but with the Ken footage, we've got these massive black borders. And if we actually go ahead and we chroma key this out, we're actually still going to have seams on this video, and that's just going to look terrible in Cinema 4D. So one way to combat this is to use the crop tool. So over here in effects, if I type in crop and drag and drop that onto my footage, and under the effect controls, here on the left slider, I can drag this left and right, but you'll see as soon as I start increasing the percentage, it starts cropping into the video. So as soon as I see it cropping into the video, I know for a fact that it's removing this black region and I won't have any seams. So I can do that for the right hand side as well. And this is usually always prevalent when you're trying to match the same aspect ratio. And if you have these borders, this is how you remove it. So now that's good to go, and I can go to Ultra, drag and drop that onto the footage, go to the eyedropper tool and select green. And there we go. So this would be good to go. I can save our two versions. But another thing, whenever you're cropping out green screen footage, sometimes you'll see that the borders on the green screen footage might still have a green border on it, or it might not look that great. So you can do some quick cleanup using matte generation. Like in this case, you can see if I increase the shadows over here, we get this very prominent border. But if I decrease the shadow, it starts removing it entirely. So play around with some of these sliders. I know for a fact that matte cleanup and choke does a very good job with cleaning up any borders on your green screen footage. So that's one way to get rid of any artifacts or anything that might be visible with green screen footage. So I thought I will mention that in case you're using other green screen footage that has any borders that are very, very visible, or any artifacts. This is how you can clean it up. So just like we did with the cat video, you can go ahead and save this out as two versions, diffuse, and then the alpha channel, which I showed you. You just do that to create the alpha channel. Okay, but let's head over to Cinema 4D and let's start using that cat video that we rendered out. Okay, so for the purpose of this tutorial, I will be using Octane render, but I'm actually going to be using just a default Cinema 4D material. So if I go to create and create a new default material, now I want to make sure I go ahead and create a plane. So this plane is actually going to be where our footage is going to be placed. Now you can try and match the exact same aspect ratio in Adobe Premiere Pro. In this case, I know that I need to make this plane a little bit longer. And over here by the width segments and the height segments, I'm actually going to put that on 1 because it's not necessary. We don't need all of those segments. Just move this up. Let me rotate this. And while I'm rotating, hold on Shift. So I rotate in increments and rotate that 90 degrees. So that should be good to go. Now I'm going to drag and drop my material on here. And let me go ahead and open up the live viewer as well and just send this plane over to the live viewer. So let's open up our Cinema 4D material and connect both video files. So I'll just double click on here. So all we need to do is under color, here by texture, just click on these three dots and let's load in the first video we saved out, right? So that was the one with the color information and the black background, which is this one. And over here, I'll just click on no. There we go. So now if I go into the video file and we go to animation, you can see that it starts on 0 and it ends on frame 167. So that's the duration of the entire clip. So over here, I'll put this on 167 and press enter, and there we go. Now I can also choose to loop the animation. So when it gets to the end, I'm sure you guys know what that means. It's just going to loop the animation continuously. So that's a really neat feature that we can activate. And there we go. And now we want to go to the alpha, enable that, click on these three dots and scroll on over here till we find the alpha video. Then click on open. I'll click on no. Let's go into the video. Over here, I'm going to put that on loop. You can see the start and end frame is exactly the same as this color. And I just made sure that both of them are also on loop. So this is good to go. And in order for us to actually see the animation plane within Cinema 4D, you want to click on editor and click on animate preview. So now if I actually scrub forward on my timeline, you'll see that the cat starts to appear. And there we go. Everything has been masked out. We can see that plane in our viewport as well. So if I pause the live view and actually click on play, there we go. There's our black cat jumping around. The background has been keyed out successfully. And this is awesome. It's really cool that you get to bring this directly into a 3D workspace and use green screen footage. Now it is obviously just a 2D plane, so you'll have to be strategic with your camera placement and all of that in order to not break the immersion. So now when it comes to creativity, the sky's the limit. But this is what I love about using green screen footage directly within a 3D program, because now we're creating this combination of 2D and 3D. So this means that I can maybe create a cube. So let's create a cube for our cat. Right now I'm also going to go to objects, lights, and create a daylight in my scene, and I want to show you something really cool as well with the way this has been masked out. Let's just increase our change the direction of our sun. Let's move this cube up, right, and maybe move it behind the cat. But now notice something. This actually blew my mind the first time I experienced this in Cinema 4D. But anything that's masked out, it'll actually mask it out correctly and realistically, so we get an accurate representation of the cat's shadow. So when this video is actually playing and that shadow is being casted, notice that the shadow moves with the cat as well. So we get this, awesome feedback from the video, and it's actually interacting with the lighting. So that is super cool that the program actually does that for you and masks it out successfully. So like I said, there we got our cat. It's running, it's jumping, and now we can merge 2D and 3D. So if I want to, I'll just hold on control to duplicate this. You can create a platform for this cat. Okay, so the main thing about using green screen footage and where immersion can really be broken is with lighting. So trying to match lighting can be extremely tricky with green screen footage, and it requires a lot of trial and error as well. But the fact that we're doing this in 3D means that any lighting information in our scene is actually being casted against this plane. And then again, we get that real-time feedback with the shadows as well. But now maybe I could, create this platform with this cat. Let's see. And you can see I rotate to the plane. If I wanted to change the angle of the jump, it's just simply rotating that plane. So cat, let's see, where does he start jumping from? We'll have to just scrub back in our timeline and see exactly when it starts to jump. I can see it starts jumping here, and cats usually jump at the end of a ledge. So it runs, and then it's going to jump, and we need a platform up there, and you can place a platform right there. So we're creating this illusion. You see, if I play back, we're creating this illusion that there's actually a cat within this 3D space, but it's just a 2D plane. Right, so it's super cool that you get to do stuff like this within a 3D viewport. And like I said, the sky is the limit with creativity when it comes to using green screen footage. So you can create a little obstacle course for your cat, have it jumping around, and just have fun with this. Okay, so that's using the default Cinema 4D material, but if we're using Octane render, we definitely want to use an Octane shader. So I'll go to create extension, Cinema 4D Octane material, drag and drop that onto my plane. And I want to make sure over here, because I still have the Cinema 4D material applied onto the plane, it's this one over here. I'll select that and delete it. I just want this Octane material visible, or else the animation's actually not going to play, even if we scrub through the timeline with an Octane shader. So double click to open this up, change the material type to glossy. Under diffuse, click on these three dots. Let's load in this video over here with the color information. If I go into the video animation, I'm going to change this to loop, so 0 to 167, and then the opacity is our alpha channel. So I'll click on those three dots and load in the alpha video. Go into the video animation and put this on loop, and then I'll just go to editor and also click on animate preview. So the only difference with using the Octane material is that we don't get to see the footage updating in the viewport like we did with the original Cinema 4D material, but we do get to see it updating in the live viewer. So very important, if you don't see the animation plane when you're scrubbing through here, it's probably because you still have another material applied onto this plane. But there we go. So here's our Octane material, and the cool thing about the Octane material is that, remember, we're using an Octane material that will react with the Octane lights, so the materials will look even a little bit better. So you can adjust some roughness on here, and the roughness and specular will play a huge role in the way that lighting bounces off the plane and how lighting is actually casted against the plane as well. But there we go. So we set up the Octane material as well using the video footage, and everything is playing as we scrub through the timeline. Okay, so here's another really cool tip that you can use with green screen footage. So currently we just have one black cat in our scene that's jumping onto this platform. What if you want to duplicate the cat but offset that animation so they're not jumping at the same time? So this is how you do it. Select the plane, hold on control to duplicate this, and make sure your planes are not overlapping like this, because it's going to create issues. Put this plane at least behind, a little bit behind the other cat, and you should be good to go. And let's move this cat behind over here. So to offset the animation, So here's our plane that we just duplicated. Make sure you select this and delete it. And now with this material, I'm going to press Ctrl C, Ctrl V to duplicate it. And let's drag the duplicated material onto the plane that we just duplicated. Now open up that material, go to diffuse, right? Go to animation and just put the start frame on 6. So the cat starts moving on frame 6. And do the exact same thing for the opacity as well. And now if we already look at our animation over here, we can see that these cats are in completely different poses. So that's just a really nice way to offset that. And you can create as many cats as you want, right? Create an army of these black cats. So maybe you're creating a scene where there's a city that's being overrun by black cats. Then this is exactly how you do it. Or you maybe even throw this into a cloner. Right? Try and put it into a cloner, but yeah, there we go. So now we got a whole lot of black cats jumping all over the place. Some have been offset. Remember, you could duplicate more material so that you create even more variation with the offset sequence. But there we go, an army of black cats jumping all over the place. Okay, so just to show you a scene that's a little bit, a little bit more complex and has more geometry in it, that's a little bit more defined. This is the exact same scene that I used in the Blender version of this tutorial. So everything you see over here are just mega scan assets, and the lighting is just lighting from an Octane daylight. Okay, and if I rotate this, you can see everything updates immediately. But the awesome thing is we're getting that color information on the plane, which looks like it's actually being casted against the actual cat. We've got the shadow information. So it's really cool that the green screen footage can be used directly like this within Cinema 4D. Now I've also gone ahead and created a camera, and it's just got a slow zoom in over here to reveal our cat. And on the Octane camera, I'm using a 77mm focal length, and on the Octane camera settings, if you want to, you can apply a little bit of depth of field, adjust the aperture. My camera imager for the response, I'm using linear, and I've just boosted the gamma a little bit. And this highlight compression really comes in handy. If you've got any blown out highlights, you can control that. And then I always put a little bit of bloom with my post-processing. I feel like it adds some really nice color grading to the image. And then I've also, with the GI mode, you can play around over here, maybe put this on GI diffuse. I feel like GI diffuse gives you some really nice bounce light information. Sometimes it actually looks better than GI ambient occlusion. And that's about it. But another thing to take note of, the cat over here, if I open up the material, this roughness slider can actually play a huge role with the way the lighting information looks on the plane. If I bump up this value, you can see that it's capturing more color information, but the surface looks very matte. And if I decrease this roughness slider, it makes the cat actually look a lot darker. So this can truly affect the way that the green screen footage looks, how it looks in your scene when it's being affected by lighting. But there we go, that's just a little bit more of a complex scene that I wanted to show you. It's the exact same scene from Blender, but it's just in Cinema 4D. And now you guys know how to use green screen footage, and this is just super awesome that you can do stuff like this. Okay, so that's going to be the end of the tutorial. Ah man, and this just really blows my mind. You can see this footage is in the shadow, and this part of the cat is actually within that shadow region over here, but this part where the light is shining is still illuminated. So really cool stuff. So you guys know how to do this. Go out there, have fun, find some green screen footage, shoot your own green screen footage and bring it into Blender and do the compositing directly within a 3D program. I think it's a very fun way to use green screen footage. So I hope this has been useful. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and thank you so much for the support on this channel. You guys are super awesome. Stay tuned for some more videos and tutorials, and goodbye.